Welcome to Diverbo TV and your course, Better English for a Better Job. My name is Brian Bowles, and I'm going to be working with you here in Module 1, where we're trying to get you ready, putting all of your skills down in writing. And just as my colleague, Julie, started, we're looking at your CV in this section. And what we want to do is to help you be able to put your skills on paper to produce a CV that's going to hopefully get you the interview. Well, here in CV writing part 1, Julie, my colleague, started by helping you begin to look at the importance of a CV, the importance of focusing your CV. And what we're going to do now is we're going to begin by looking at what type of CV is the best for you. Well, there are two main types of CVs that work. The first is a chronological CV. This, of course, allows you to put all of your skills and actually the performance of you over a period of time with your jobs that you have done. It puts them in an order that allows your employer to see your progression and your evolution. The other type of CV, of course, is a skills-based CV. And these two types of CVs are different in that a skills-based CV is focused more on your skills, your background, and your experience as compared to the order of what happened when. And this has its own benefit. Basically, you're able to focus on your skills and even put a little bit more detail, briefly, into each area that you want to focus on. So you might ask, well, which type of CV is the best for me? Essentially, let's look at a skills-based CV. This type of CV, as we mentioned, is good to look at your experience. And that's essentially what you want to do. You put your skills, your experience all together. Why would you do this? Well, this type of CV is very good in the way of organizing and focusing on your abilities. Perhaps if maybe you have been out of work for a while, and therefore you don't have a chronological sequence of jobs. So you want to focus on your skills. It also could be useful if maybe you're changing your career to work in a different field and work in a different type of job, and you want to focus on your skills that you've learned and how they are going to apply to a new type of work or a new job. And either one of these situations, whether you are building your experience in the description because you haven't worked recently, maybe you had some other experiences, or because you're changing your career and you want to focus what you can do for a new job, a skills-based CV is good for you. The most typical type of CV, however, is of course a chronological CV, in which we see your progression over time of different types of jobs and different positions and responsibilities in those jobs. And this is useful for the employer to see your progression, and it's very common. And this is what we're going to be focusing on primarily with looking at what goes into a CV, what type of categories of information you need to put in to give your potential employer a very clear idea of your history of experience. And so, let's look at what you need in a chronological CV.
Hi, this is Gary Toomey. In this video, we are looking at common errors in English. Listen to this sentence. Can you hear the mistake? Thank you so much for all your hard work. I invite you a beer. What's wrong with this sentence? That's right. You cannot invite somebody something. When we use the verb to invite, it's always an invitation to an event. So for example, I invited him to my birthday party. However, if you want to say, I will buy you a beer, this is the correct way to do it. So, the correct version would be, thank you for all your hard work. I'll buy you a beer. Hi, I'm Gary Toomey, and in this video we are continuing our series of phrasal verbs in English. In this video we're going to take a look at the phrasal verbs to think ahead, to think of, and to think about. Let's begin with to think ahead. This is quite logical if you think about it. So for example, think ahead to the future. Will your level of English be better than it is now? So obviously, to think ahead means to think about the future. Now let's take a look at to think of and to think about. Students often confuse these two, as maybe in their language, it's often the same preposition. However, in English, we have two alternatives, and it can vary in meaning. So for example, can you think of a time when you didn't know a word in English? Okay, so to think of is to talk about or to think about one specific idea. Can you think of a good way to practice your English? Can you think of an idea? So this is one singular idea. However, when you think about something, you are usually considering or deliberating a decision. So for example, I am thinking about going to France for my holidays, but I haven't decided yet. Also remember that if we use another verb after think about, it has to end in ing. So, are you thinking about improving your English? Good. Then watch more videos.